Hey, this is Terry. Who do we have?
This is William from Chicago.
William from Chicago. All right. What's happening, William? What can we do for you?
Well, not much is happening. We're just interested in getting into some senior housing with some assisted living units. Basically, interested in creating a nice house, turn it into a few rooms for the elderly. I know there's a lot of paperwork and details of it, but I was wondering how do you choose, where to buy these residential homes?
Well, man, I tell you, that's a good question. It sounds like, do you own units right now? You said we. Is there a partner? No, no partner?
No partner, just looking to get our first deal.
Okay, all right. So you a real estate investor or?
Yes.
Okay,
not a broker.
All right, so you already invest in real estate right now. Do you have rentals by chance?
No, we just have one commercial building with a tenant, barbershop, and just managing that.
Okay.
But more interested in senior housing, where we basically can use each room. You know how it is.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely. I got to tell you,
$1,000 a month, $1,500 a month. We're talking multiples of that. And,
yeah, right.
We're interested in.
Yep, exactly. When you rent it out for a tenant, you get $1,500. You rent out a room, hell, you can get $3,000 per room. So, you just got to be able to run the business. Now, I know for me, man, I've been in real estate 38 years, and 38 years. I just learned about assisted living probably about a year ago. And I was going, man, why come no one ever talked about this, or why come no one ever mentioned it?
It's not on the news.
Yeah. They're not doing seminars on it, man. So it's an exclusive type business, and it's kind of a hush-hush business. So, I teach real estate investors how to make money. And I said, hey, you know what? I'm going to expose people that, I train and mentor to this concept, because it only takes one house turned into assisted living for, someone to make great money. Everybody's talking about wholesaling now. Hey, wholesale. Flip for 5,000.
I actually was a wholesaler.
You actually was a wholesaler. Yeah, there's nothing.
Yeah, just very basic stuff, putting signs, and we buy houses and all that stuff. We only closed one deal, but it was a learning experience.
Yeah, it's
not my type of thing, though.
It's also competitive as heck. Everybody and their brother, man, and they got all kinds of seminars. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm saying no barrier to entry. I mean, especially with this. That's why I'm very interested in the senior housing. I was kind of in the healthcare business. I managed dental offices.
Wow.
But aside from that, I mean, we need a little barrier to entry. I mean, I see there's some permits and licenses you need, but
yep.
It's kind of, I don't like to do things where anybody can get in. Kind of the senior housing. And that's another thing with that, like you said, it's kind of hush-hush. I mean, I think you're the only video here on YouTube that even brings something up, but there's no courses everywhere and all that. I'm getting this, what's it called, seniors real estate specialist certification, but that's just so I can get, an introduction into the industry. But very little information out there, so we're just basically building it, piecing it all together.
Yeah, and it's a lot of work. When you try to piece it together and start from scratch, it is a challenge. And you know what? You're absolutely correct. There is a higher barrier of entry, and it's regulated, which most investors, they're not interested in. They just want to make that quick 2, 3, 4, 5,000 on the flip.
But the advantage is we were dealing with all those regulations at our dental offices, and I can get me on their website and I'll figure it all out, and all the forms and all that, and I know how to handle the side of there's protocols and there's HIPAA that we had to deal with and a lot of other things, but this is all not new to me. Yep. Regulations.
Well, here, actually, even where you're at, you're in Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Anybody can open up an assisted living home. There's no one that can stop you from doing that. Now, there is some requirements to say, well, you can't open up if there's another facility, let's say a mile away from you or something like that. You'll find that out for your, specific area. But, no one can stop you from opening up that assisted living home. So there's not a big.
If this is true, if it's true that they only need a license after opening it, or they check it once a year, I'm really not sure. But,
well, again,
it seems that there's no application to actually buy a house or to build it, or I think it's when you want to rent it to someone. I think that's when you got to fill out a form, and I don't think there's anything else, but I'm not sure.
Well, the thing of it is, if you have a house, my house that I live in right now, I can open up an assisted living home, unless there's one close. Now, the thing of it is, it does have to be licensed, and it's regulated. So what you have to do in Chicago is learn the laws and regulations. How many bedrooms? In California, we can have 6 residents in a house without getting a special use permit. Okay, now what Chicago is, I don't know, but we're going to try and show you where you can find out that information. See, the good thing about assisted living, you can do all the research first. Do all your numbers.
Exactly.
Find out exactly
what. This
Yeah.
is actually the process I'm in now, which is I'm actually reading the legislation from the Illinois Department of Public Health, the Assisted Living Act and the Nursing Home Act. I'm actually reading the legislation, and it's more to what I'm understanding is there's 16 rooms and under, that's something, and then there's 17 units and up, that's another classification. But you definitely need to read the actual legislation. I mean, that's my strategy.
Yep, that's exactly right. And then you find out if it can be profitable before you even go down this process. So I like it for the simple fact that you can get all the information first and then decide. Like for, again, California, we can have 6 residents. Okay, that you can have shared rooms. You can have 2 people in one room. Okay, or you can have private room. Private room gets a little bit more money. Shared room, is not as much. But the second thing I got to do is where I open up, what are my competitors charging as far as assisted living? Let's say, my competitors are all doing $4,000 a month. And we all offer the same care. Okay? Care is important also. The higher levels of care, the more money you can charge your residents. So let's say everybody's doing $4,000 in my area. So I do $4,000. So I got 6 residents at $4,000. And if I'm competitive, my home is just as nice and I offer great services, I can run $24,000 a month out of my home. So the numbers are fairly easy.
Is that 6 units or 6 residents?
That's 6 residents. Only 6, 6 people. Residents are, they're the people that stay here. So, I can have 3-bedroom house. And if I do double beds, or I could have a 6-bedroom house. I viewed a 6-bedroom house, and it had just 1 resident per room, really beautifully set up, and it was a nice facility. Now here in California, I know of one that does $10,000 a bed. So you're talking about 6 residents in California at $10,000. That's $60,000 a month, but that's a high-end, multi-million-dollar house. See,
I think that goes to where you're targeting, which who is your target? Who's your target tenant?
Exactly. And so we're going to do all that. That's a part of my coaching program. We're going to put the numbers on paper. We're going to get you we're going to learn the regulations. I'm going to try and show you where you need to go. We're going to put it on paper. You're going to go out and do tours. You're going to go tour other homes to see what they offer. You're going to call around to see what they charge. So again, by the time you decide to do this, it's well thought out. They even got business loans. Matter of fact, I may even have access to a company that gives loans for assisted living homes to open up.
So what I'm realizing about the business side of it is you actually have the building with, let's say, 6 residents, and you're saying 24 a month. Now, obviously, that's gross, but you can actually sell that business that's generating $24,000 a month and then lease it to the buyer and charge them rent for buying your assisted living business. Is that right?
That's exactly right. So if you own the property, you can hire someone and let them run it. Or if you own the home, hey, you can be a part of the business yourself and work in the business. Even 2 or 3 years later, you can sell that business to 2 to 3 times the net income. So the good thing about assisted living is you have to have a desire, a love, and a passion for it. This is not something that a real estate investor can get involved with and say, hey, look, I'm going to go ahead and buy the house and I'm going to just let anybody run it. No, there's, as you know, there's regulations and it's a high standard business. So you got to have some love.
You have to be pretty active, I believe.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Because if not, they'll shut you down. You don't want that to happen.
Not passive income, as they say.
Yes, yes. But I would look at it this way. I've got tenants right now, and probably about 3 months ago, I was looking outside my house and I seen the police helicopters flying around. And I'm going, wow, somebody done got in trouble. Next thing I know, my tenant's calling me and says, hey, man, one of our thuggish friends ran up in our yard running away from the police, and the police was, at the property. I just wanted to let you know before you found out. You're not going to have that problem with seniors, man. Seniors just want to relax, sleep, enjoy their life and not be bothered. So I'm going, man, I definitely would rather have a senior in my home. They're not going to tear it up. They're not going to, do ridiculous things. They're much more pleasant to work with.
So where's the liability side? Where is that mainly coming from?
The liability?
Yeah, is that because of their age or because of the maintenance, or is it their safety?
Well, you got workers. You got caregivers. I know I was checking one facility here where I live in Sacramento, and there were some abuse claims. Actually, they caught the person that worked in the home abusing the seniors. So what happens that goes up under your license. If you're licensing the place for assisted living, your license is at stake because of the worker. It wasn't your fault, it was the worker. So, you got to really monitor your workers. You got to stay on top of the regulations. It's a pretty tough business, but if you love what you do.
Complex.
Yeah.
Pretty complex as well, because there's also restrictions on, you can restrict a certain type of tenants you have, and there's codes regarding that. For example, Alzheimer's is another thing that's in the act. There's regulations to protect them, so those residents will have that.
Well, that's the way it should be. Nobody wants to be abused. I know as I get older, hey, one day I might end up being in a home. So I figure, I better own it and train the staff. So when I get there, they'll be pretty dang on decent and they'll take real good care of me. So, William, I'm going to give you the prices of my coaching program, and I'm going to run it just like I do my other real estate program. Okay. It's $700 for 1 year, and that's Monday through Friday. Okay. And basically, I'm going to teach you the real estate part also. Reason why is because not every house is going to be an assisted living house. One house that you get, you may want to wholesale it. One house you may want a landlord. One house you may want to turn into residential assisted living. One house may be Airbnb.
Is there like a certain target number of units where you don't want to do 6, you don't want to do 10, or you want to stay more in a certain range of units for assisted living, or is it the more the better, or is there a diminishing returns or something like that?
Well, again, that's going to be entirely up to you. Okay, reason why is because, see, this is what I do in my real estate program. We run numbers. We run a lot of numbers. We do all the analysis. I've got performers of assisted living facilities that I've visited, the numbers on them, and you got to decide what's best for you by the time we run our numbers. Okay, so again, it's $700 for 1 year. Then I have a $2,995 program. That's where you come to Sacramento. I work with you for 3 days, one-on-one. And when you go back to Chicago, then we got unlimited training, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Now, when you come here to Sacramento, hey, we're going to go look at some assisted living. We're going to do some tours. We're going to ask some questions. I've got a team. That's what they do. They sell assisted living homes. So we'll go out and go tour some homes. And I have $4,995. I'll come to Chicago. Okay, I'll come to Chicago. We'll do it in your area. We'll go look at some assisted living homes. We'll look at some real estate. We'll run some numbers. We'll do some analysis, all that good stuff. So at the end of the day, you'll know what you're doing instead of just guessing. So those are my three prices. Again, $700, $29.95, and $49.95. And if any one of those works good for you, that'd be great. But again, you found out me on YouTube, right?
Yep.
What was you looking for? Did you actually punch in assisted living, or how did you get?
Senior housing.
I'm sorry, one more time.
Senior housing.
Senior housing, and I popped up, huh?
There's so little on it with people. I mean, I'm getting down to the actual fundamentals, which is the actual legislation, just to get some information, because there's so little out there.
Wow. See, again, that's why I'm glad I'm doing what I do. Now
that's
normally,
why I like it, actually.
Yeah, I'm a note buyer. That's what I'm really known for. People call me 99% of the time about buying notes. And here's something that's interesting. And this is what comes along with your training. Let's say you learn the note buying and you happen to call a bank. A bank has a property in Chicago that no one's making the payments on. Maybe the previous owner just got frustrated with the whole thing, decided to shut it down. They quit making payments. You can buy the note on that assisted living, get the owner to sign the deed over to you, and now you own the property without going through the hassles of buying a property from a bank. So there's so many variables about real estate and assisted living. We don't know what's going to happen until you get started.
Very creative.
Very creative. See, but you have a love for assisted living. I have a love for real estate. We combine them. We put you into the market, and then you come back and we try to do what's good for you so that you make a profit. That's what this is all about. So does any one of those three programs work for you, William?
Yes, actually the first one works, and the third one works, where you actually come to Chicago, and maybe we can start with the first one, and then later on you can come visit us. We'll be happy to have you here.
Okay, well, you know what? Hey, as long as it's not cold.
It's cold, but I'll bring you in the summer.
Hey, my daughter has a friend that lived in Chicago for years, and she just moved to Vegas. And I go, you know what? I can't handle that cold weather. It's probably about 65 here in Sacramento right now. I got a blanket on me, man, and my heater on. So, and the sun's out. Hey, William, I'm gonna stop this recording, and then we'll. Go ahead, sir.
Where can we get more information about this? About the first package.
Okay, give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the recording and I'll get you that information.